Hello, good evening, and welcome to our front. Tonight we turn the spotlight on the Electoral Commission of the Republic of Ghana. This Electoral Commission, by its engagement, is supposed to give us some details of what's happening, which is dropped the bombshell refusing to recognize the declarations that made Baba Sadiq and Ibi Bright members of parliament elect, alongside others, citing unresolved chaos in 9 constituencies, from violent disruptions and threats at collation centers to results allegedly forced at gunpoint. The EC has painted a chilling picture of the December 7 elections descending into lawlessness in these areas. I'm talking about the 9 constituencies. The commission warns that endorsing such unlawful processes will drag Ghana back into the dark days of electoral impunity. In an unprecedented call, it has appealed to President Akufo-Addo and President-elect John Dramani Mahama to intervene, urging all Ghanaians to stand firm for credible elections. Meanwhile, the opposition NDC has taken the battle to court, challenging some of these results and fueling this controversy further. Now, I am grateful to you for joining us today, because we will unpack for you the chaos and examine the stakes and also navigate the uncertain road ahead with representatives from the NPP and also NDC, and also with independent voices too. And joining me via Zoom right now, I understand, is a Deputy Director of Elections of the NDC, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. He joins us now. He's also joining us with a colleague on the other side in the NPP, the Director of Elections, Evans Dimako, will also be joining us in this conversation. Later on, we'll break it down with proper legal analysis for you. Gentlemen, you're welcome to our front.
Good evening.
Now, let me start with you, Rashid. The most important conversation here is that there are 9 of those constituencies where there was either lawlessness or collation was not completed. I have heard your boss, the Director of Elections of the NDC, already up in arms against what the Electoral Commission is saying. I've also heard some members of Parliament on your side equally opposing the position of the Electoral Commission on this matter. Put into proper perspective why you believe each of these 9 does not fall in the category that the EC is putting them.
Very well. Let me say good evening to you and my colleague Evans, my good friend Evans, and your cherished viewers. Let's put into proper context. You see, when it comes to parliamentary elections, declaration of parliamentary results lies in the bosom of the returning officer. We must be very clear in our mind on this. Madam Jean Mensah is only a returning officer for the presidential election. She has no business in parliamentary elections. The CI, which I'm holding here, 127, Regulation 43, is very clear as to who collates parliamentary results and declares same. Under Regulation 43, it spells out the criteria to follow in assembling pink sheets, in putting it on the this from 1C, and then the summary sheet, which is from 1D, and declare publicly the winner of the results. Then we'll now finally fill the 1B, which is the writ. Because he's called returning officer, he has to return the writ back to the commission for gazetting. This is the procedure laid out in 43. Now, when things go this way and you are not satisfied with the procedure, the only way out for you is to go to court so that you argue your case there. Then the High Court, they have the power to set aside an announcement so made by the returning officer. The declaration made, if they look at the evidence that you adduce, is not in line with the CI 127, then the judge can set it aside and maybe call for re-collation. At that point, the judge can call for the ballot boxes and then the original pink sheets to now examine the facts to see whether the declaration was not made properly. This is a simple way of resolving matters of this nature. It does not lie in the mouth of Madam Jean Mensah to sit in her office to say, I am not going to uphold this declaration because I feel that it was made under duress or it did not follow due process. She's not a judge. She's not a judge. That she constitutes herself into a position that she doesn't have. That is not it. And let me repeat, the old CI of 2004 and 2012 did make room for re-collation. there was a semblance of re-collation in those days under Afarjan. So if they made a declaration at the Constituency Collation Center and you were not satisfied with the collation, the regional level, they could do a re-collation. But this current year does not make room for any re-collation. That is why in 2020, when state security attacked a collation center at the Chimasaf and killed people over there, the returning officer there was asked to go ahead and do the declaration in the midst of all this violence because the MPP was winning and they declared it for MPP. We wrote to Madam Jinsa asking for re-collation of the results of the Chimasaf in 2020.
I'll come to, because you just made a point, and that is an allegation of state security killing people in Techiman South.
Can we give you the videos?
No.
It's a matter, that was one of the reasons why we said we're not going to sign the peace pact.
I get your point.
This one is not an allegation. It's
yes,
a public knowledge.
With respect, you are still saying so. I do not want it to be made to look like I am supposed to demand of you evidence of this claim. What you're saying is what you're claiming the video showed. I hope that's clear. That is state security. Yes.
2020.
I'm saying, if I ask you to name the specific officers, can you name them?
That is why we are saying they should arrest them, because who gave the orders for them to go there?
But that's unrelated to my question.
Then said, look,
is this slippery slope?
Cannot go for action.
No, I'm not disputing what you're saying. I'm saying, is this slippery slope I want us to avoid by removing those allegations from this conversation? I hope you get my point. You were explaining to me.
I get your point, but it's a public knowledge. Let's move away. But I'm saying that the process involved in declaring Techima SAP of 2020 is what Madam Jean Mensah should be interested in. That's what she's referring to right now. She's saying that polling collation centers were attacked and vandalized, and people were their officers announced results under duress. And I'm giving an example.
Okay.
That in 2020.
No. Okay. Sorry. Excuse me. I get your point. I need to forgive me. I get your point, and I'm not moving away from that point. You are saying that she has no role in there. There are 8 provisions under 43(1). Are you saying that the returning officers complied in these 9 constituencies with all of these because she was specific? Or you want us to go through the various constituencies so that you show me where the returning officers complied with all the provisions under 43, specifically Regulation 43 of CI 127? I hope you get my point.
Oh, I'm very clear of my mind. We are very clear because those constituencies, I'll give you an example. For instance, Dominic Abenya. We have the summary sheet, that is the 1C and the 1D. We have our copies.
Okay.
Because when they finish, they give you copies.
True.
Before declaration is made.
True.
So we have our copies. And the copies are very clear. It's a public document.
Okay.
And so in that case, how can you tell me that a right procedure was not followed?
I will come back to you, but let me bring in Evans DiMarco into this conversation. I want some preliminary thoughts from you as well. Evans, do you agree with the decision of the Electoral Commission to hold on to 9 constituencies? Some of them have already been declared by returning officers. She says they were under duress. She says, for example, in Obuasi West, Obuasi East specifically, the people deliberately forced the gentleman with threats to mention the wrong name. That's what the claim is under these circumstances. Do you agree that all 9 should not be upheld by the EC boss, as she said? Yes, Evans DiMarco.
Hello?
Yes, Evans, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes, my question is, do you agree with the EC on the decision not to uphold the declaration in these 9 constituencies?
Thank you, Ray, for having me, and good evening to your viewers and listeners across the world. Exactly the position of the New Patriotic Party. And let me take the issues one after the other. I'm happy that you disassociated yourself from the allegations that are being leveled by my very good friend, Dr. Tanko Computer Rashid. Bringing in the issue of Techima South in 2020.
No, I don't want us to dwell on that because that's not part of the constituencies under review here.
Thank you very much.
All right.
When it comes to the 9 constituencies. They used to be 12 until Suhum, Santiago North, and Akwetia were collated and results declared accordingly. And here is not an issue of recollation. It's an issue of proper collation because collations at these constituencies could not finish. The NDC did not allow for complete collation of results from polling stations in all these constituencies. And so I'm happy that you asked Dr. Computer that when you take the CI 127 Regulation 43, it is not only the declaration. Yes, it is true that it is the return officer. Who appointed the return officer? The return officer has a role to play. The rate is to be submitted to the GC for gazetting. That cannot be done by the returning officer. So the returning officer's role will end at a point for the commission to take it up. And Ray, I'm happy that multimedia did an excellent job by covering all these elections. And you can find out from your reporters in all these constituencies whether collation completed. Aside that, there were security officials, members of the National Election Security Task Force, who were assigned to these centers to ensure that peace and harmony and serene environment was provided for collation to take place. We said that it is only those with accreditation who could have access to collation centers. Is that what we saw? And so when you have gone through an exercise that has been beautifully done across 40,648 polling stations, and we are left with collations in 276 constituencies, and that becomes a big problem, and NDC will not understand that they must allow the due process to be followed. I'm surprised that Dr. Tanko and his people will still be agitating that the only means somebody can petition this process to go to court. There is time to go to court. When results have not been gazetted, what do you go to court to do? And the issue is simple. Every constituency has number of polling stations, and all must be put together by the return officer. But where you put a return officer under threat of life, and you are telling me, unless Ray, your reporter will tell you that what they saw in all these centers, Ablekuma North, Okankwe Central, Tema Central, Obuasi East, and all the others, did not happen. And we are here toying with people's lives, toying with our democracy. I think that what Dr. Baumia did on the 8th of December saved Ghana a lot and crowned our democracy.
Forgive me, but because I'm running a very tight ship here, I will come back to you for you to elucidate what Dr. Baumia did in a very comprehensive manner. I would also come back to you to respond to the very specific issues that are being raised that the Electoral Commission is taking the side of the NPP in this matter. Now, one man who is already up in arms, I heard him earlier today in Parliament, firing on all cylinders, is the Member of Parliament for South Dai. He is also a member of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee in Parliament, and he's run out of Parliament to join us this evening. Honorable, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I like mentioning your name in full because some people don't know the full name. Roxanne Nelson Kwame Eti Dapamepo. Yes, I did.
Yeah, right.
All right, thank you. So now I need to go straight to the point.
Yes.
The Electoral Commission says that, and the law is clear on it, 43 has specific 8 different subsections under one, regulations under one. The Electoral Commission chairperson says that it is their responsibility to not only receive the rate, but also endorse the rate and publish the gazette and notice and indicate to Parliament who is chosen. They will not uphold the declarations in these 9 constituencies. You already think that that is wrong and that the court case is already happening, so they should hold on. Why so?
Thank you very much. To uphold results declared by EC officers. And mind you, the EC is not a sole proprietorship. It's a creature of the Constitution. And so by the terms and tenets of CI 127, the law mandates EC officers at various levels, hierarchically structured, certain responsibilities. That is why in law, the chairperson or the chairman of the Electoral Commission does not declare parliamentary results. That is not her province. She's not mandated in law to declare parliamentary results. But the law mandates her to declare the presidential results because she is the returning officer for presidential results. But for parliamentary, there are public officers whose duty it is under law to do so, captured perfectly in CI 127. Now, they make the point that the procedure under Regulation 43 have not been followed. What procedures are these? Regulation 43 talks about the procedure for declaring presidential results.
No, parliamentary results.
No, parliamentary results is under Regulation 39.
No, sorry. You are talking about CI
127.
127.
Yes.
I'm reading Declaration and Publication of Parliamentary Election Results 43.
Okay, 43.
Yes.
49 tells you declaration of results. 39 tells you declaration of results. It tells you even how the returning officer ought to sign the pink sheets, how he's supposed to give duplicates to agents, and how, after doing all this, a copy is supposed to be pasted at polling stations.
True.
Now, it does not lie in the province of the Electoral Commission to say that even though declarations have been made, we want to invalidate those declarations. They don't have any such power. There's no such power for them under the law. The only entity mandated in law to validate electoral results as declared by the Electoral Commission or give some other consequential orders is the High Court of the Republic of Ghana, pursuant to Article 99 of the 99(1) of the Constitution.
Ray.
Now, sorry, forgive me, because, sorry, I want to hear you, yes. Evans, if you can hear me, would you want him to complete the point before he come in?
Yes, please. I want to point out to Honorable A.J. Dafiamapo that at the polling station, it's not the returning officer, but the presiding officer. And as you pointed out to him, it is Regulation 43, and there are steps in the 43. And so it is gazetted. The parliamentary election is not complete. Unless
okay, but sorry, Evans, I think that Evans, I think this point certainly can wait if he's done making that point, so that you can actually come in with this. I thought it was urgent to the point he was making. This
now, I haven't doubted, I haven't litigated the provision in 43. I am saying the procedure in 39 is also very key.
True.
Now, where a pink sheet given to my agent at a polling station after close of polls evidences clearly that the original has been tampered with, you think that at the collation center that should be admitted?
Okay, that's an interesting point.
Yes. So that, for instance,
you are saying that what the EC person. So if I am the presiding officer at a police station I go with my original document.
Yes.
You're saying that there were times where the if you like, the
duplicate
taken out and given to the agent contradicts what the original.
Thank you. These are material facts the EC as a commission is running away from. Why do you think people are contesting contents of pink sheets? For instance, she says that the Central, out of 148 polling stations, the declaration was done based on 146. Those two pink sheets that we resisted, that we would not allow that they are admitted, they were fabricated. Fabricated in the sense that if you take a pink sheet, the contents of the original ought to be a replica of the duplicates that you are given. Now, you have pink sheets, duplicates of pink sheets, where even the name of the returning officer is not on it, the signature is not on it, the year of the election is not on it, the time that the polls closed at the polling station is not even stated. And yet on the original, you have all this content stated on it. How was the original crafted? It means somebody now sat in the comfort of his office and generated the contents appearing on the original. Because when you fill the...
And these duplicates, the NPP and the NDC, they have the copies, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And all these figures favor the NPP candidate.
So this is Tema Central.
This is Tema Central.
The two that was not...
The two that we resisted. Because if you allow those pink sheets to go in, you are damning your candidate.
Okay.
You understand? So the EC is not only mandated in law to collate results, they are mandated in law to collate regular results. That is why when you go to vote, for instance, and you tamprint the ballot, and your imprint goes outside of the rectangular space provided, the EC has the power to tell you that this is a rejected ballot. Who has the power to do that?
The officer on the ground.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So an invalid ballot is counted as a rejected ballot. Mm-hmm. In the same, with parity of reasoning, where a pink sheet has been fabricated, clearly evidencing that somebody crafted this in the comfort of his home, because the contents do not reflect on the duplicates given to party agents or agents of contestants, it has to be rejected. And you see,
but this procedure for rejection.
Good. Hold on.
Where is it established and enshrined?
Hold on.
In the CI?
It's implied. It is implied that an invalid pink sheet cannot be admitted. So if I am aggrieved by the fact that we cannot accept a pink sheet from an Electoral Commission officer, which is in fresh ink, and yet the duplicate he has given to my agent do not contain the contents on the original, I go to court.
Yes.
Do you understand?
But if you are aggrieved.
Yes, if I'm aggrieved.
You don't force them to declare in your favor.
Nobody forces anybody to declare.
But the EC chair has been saying that in places like Obuasi East, the evidence even on the, the documents and the pink sheets, does not suggest anything close to what the presiding officer, the returning officer was forced to declare. So
evidence must be led and recanted. This is what we are trained for. This is what we do as a nation. We are a nation of laws and order. So let us go before a judicial body properly appointed for such processes.
Don't you need gazetted results to go before?
No. Case law has made a decision on that. That once the results are declared and you are aggrieved, you can proceed to court. You don't have to wait for gazette notification at all.
Because that's something that Evans Marco
Yes, he's been insisting, and I think that is wrong. You need to go back.
So when you say case law, which specific case law are we talking about?
I'll fetch it for you.
But it's only fair that we get to know.
Yes, but the court decided that you don't wait for a gazette notification. Once the results have been declared and you are aggrieved, proceed to court. File your petition. Do you understand the point I'm making? So the AC has no mandate in law. They keep quoting CI 127. They have a mandate in CI 127. If you ask them to give you a provision in the CI which mandates them to recollate properly declared results, they have none. The only provision that comes close to what EC may interfere with after declaration of a parliamentary election results is Regulation 42, where there is parity of results. That is parity of outcome. So that, for instance, you and I, when we contest, and we both obtain 10 votes, for instance, and the next person got 7, then the EC is mandated in law to order for a rerun, which will feature only you and I. That is the only provision that allows EC to take certain steps to interfere with a result that has been declared. You understand?
I get you.
To rerun an election. Apart from that, the framers were very clear that if you agree with the outcome of a result, don't be urging upon EC to do re-collation for you. They have no mandate. And let me put it on.
But there's nowhere in the statement of the EC that it says a party asked it to do so.
Sorry?
The statement that the EC put out today, they didn't say a party asked it to
do so. NPP held a press conference.
Indeed,
Hold on. The NPP held a press conference. Led by the Honorable Apenyo Makin, and ordered the EC that why? No, these are matters of public record. I am not concocting them.
No problem.
And ordered the EC that they should annul all illegally declared results. Who determined the declaration of a parliamentary results, whether or not they are illegal? It's only a court of law, a court of competent jurisdiction that can do that. So I want, look, we are serving notice, the NDC. We shall resist this unlawful attempt by the EC to interfere in the elections of our parliamentary candidates in these 9 constituencies.
Does not sound strange. You're saying that the Electoral Commission that conducts the election is interfering in the election.
Thank you.
Read
Regulation 45. The penal provision in CI 127 is directed both at the generality of the citizens as well as EC officers. Okay. What does this say? Regulation 45.2 says that where a thing is to be conducted in consonance with this act, and it
okay, I can read it. I have it.
Yes, read it.
An election officer who is required to perform a function under these regulations but fails to perform that function commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine of no more than 500 penalty units or to a term of imprisonment of no more than 2 years or to both, and shall for a period of 5 years from the date of expiration of the term of imprisonment be disqualified from being engaged as an election officer. This is what you're talking about.
Yes.
All right.
So where election officers, including EC commissioners, engage themselves in an unlawful act like re-collation where the law does not permit it, they are in breach of regulation.
So
45.
the NDC is going to court on the matter?
Yes, we are already in court.
Yes, but you're saying that you are sending notice to the Electoral Commission, you will resist any attempt?
Yes, we will, lawfully. So the one step to resisting it is by initiating a judicial process,
yes,
which they have.
Which is the only step available to you anyway.
No, it's not the only step. Which they have. Look, I shudder to use the expression. They have decided to ignore. And I think that such a conduct is contempt as facial curiae.
In the outside of court?
Yes. Contempt, it's an outside of court contempt because you are disregarding the court process. The fundamental principles underpinning jurisprudence in the grant of or denial of application for injunction is that where you have been served with the process that seeks to injunct you, you are deemed injuncted until the matter is heard on its merits. So if you receive a court process seeking to injunct you from engaging in re-collation, and yet you can go and hold a press conference and tell the whole world that you will proceed to re-collate and that you are asking the sitting president to offer you security to do that, that is engaging in a contemptuous conduct.
I want to hear Evans Marco now. Please give me a second. Evans, I know you are not the EC and you don't represent an EC. My understanding of the MPP position on this matter is that you agree with the EC fully. And for each of the constituencies, you think the conduct of the EC is right. But he says they're already in court on some of these ones, and at least the EC should have stayed away from doing anything that will prejudice what is already
and let me add quickly, the Honorable Yabuama, Okaikwe Central, is himself in court.
Okay, he said so. Yes. I don't know if you have filed yet.
He's also in court.
What do you think about this matter?
Well, really, thank you very much for having me. And just let Honorable H.A. Dafiamopo be aware that for us as New Patriotic Party, we are looking for proper collation of results in these constituencies. Returning officers and their deputies were appointed by the EC. They did not just came up. And find out from him who declared the results of Tema Central, who was the returning officer. You go to Ablik Mano.
Sorry, before you move on, when you asked me to find out from him, I'm not sure he can answer. What point are you making with that?
No, I can answer you.
I'll come to you. No, sorry. Are you saying that the legitimate returning officer for the specific constituency is not the one who declared the results?
Yes.
Who did then? Who did then?
Then I'm saying that when you go to Ablik-Manok constituency, you have 280 polling stations plus special voting, making 281. Each of the presiding officers issued out pin sheets to party agents, and you have them. And so if you think that you have won, produce your pin sheet and let the EC call the pin sheet from from 8A and let them not conform with what you have. And that's the essence of collate. It has nothing to do with re-collate. Honorable Eti, nobody is talking of the new Patriotic Party. When we held our press conference, it was a press conference by the Legal and Electoral Affairs Committee of the party. Honorable Majority Leader sat in as one of the members of the committee.
Okay.
The press conference was addressed by Peter McMahon and the General Secretary sat in as well. Our issues were simple. In the 12 constituencies, there was no proper collation, and therefore we urged the EC to do proper collation. 3 constituencies were done. Suhum constituency, Fantiakwa North, Akwetia. When the NDC realized that they don't have the pink sheet, and that in all these constituencies, proper collations were not done, and that there couldn't have been any declaration, they then started the behavior that Honorable Defema says they will resist. And so that's what we've experienced. And I'm saying that in all these places, there were security officers. Can we find out from them? There were media presence. Those criminal activities that occurred in those areas, as I'll put it, were they masterminded by the New Patriotic Party or it was the NDC? Yes,
And
Honorable
you suspect it was the NDC. Would they have been prudent to report to the police then?
I think all these incidents have been reported to the police.
Fair,
if you go
fair.
to Dome Kwabenya and people come and burn electoral materials and destroy them, why do you do that?
Okay, so in Dominican, we are talking about 3 outstanding police station results. That's what the EC says. Is the reason they will not uphold the results for now. You get that, right? Are you saying these are the results that have been bent, or the other materials that have been bent?
The EC district officer and the return officer in Dominican Kwabenya can give a vivid report of what transpired on the 7th and 8th of December when they were doing the collation.
But he did the declaration. I was sitting in this studio when he did declaration, right on this TV. Are you saying that he was cajoled to do so?
Ray, we went into elections and there were 2 elections, presidential and parliamentary. It didn't take the New Patriotic Party 48 hours to say that Mr. John Dramani Mahama, the former president, has won more votes to constitute government. It didn't take us 48 hours. And we are seeing that in these constituencies, the same way we got results to show that presidential NDC had won, the same way the parliamentary, we are saying that based on the pink sheet that were given to us in all these polling stations by presiding officers, we have more votes than the NDC-sponsored candidate.
But Evans, you were talking about what happened in Dominican Kwabenya, and I'm saying
the collation, and therefore there must be avenue for them to complete the collation.
Okay,
that's what we're saying.
Evans, I heard Roxanne say that in some instances, and the reference is made to specific constituency, where 2 of the pink sheets were disputed and they were taken out and the eventual declaration was done. The EC thinks that is wrong. To your mind, if I have a dispute over a pink sheet, who is the rightful person to take it out?
Chief, if the returning officer deemed the 2 pink sheets from the 2 polling stations do not reflect what transpired, the returning officer has the right, based on petition from stakeholders, to open the box. Okay? Because there can be recount of ballots at the polling station and at the collation center when the demand is made by a candidate or his agent, one at the polling station and the other at the collation center. So if out of the total you have 2 polling stations that you are doubting the pink sheet, you are at liberty to look into those boxes and find out. And I'm saying that at no point, if you realize that the 2 results will have material effect on the results, you hold on. When Madam J. Mensah was declaring the results for presidential, she said there were 9 constituencies results that were not added. But even if you have to add all the results to the second person, it will still not offset the difference. So at that point, you'll be able to go ahead. And in a situation where the New Patriotic Party We have been given the pink sheet that we know that we won.
But
somebody
sorry,
please let me.
For a second, I just want a direct answer from you. Is it the responsibility of the returning officer in a parliamentary election to declare that these two pink sheets do not reflect the votes on the ground, so I'm taking them out?
It doesn't lie in his mouth.
Okay, well, that's his point on that matter.
So it lies in whose mouth?
Then the question then again is, whose responsibility would it be then?
So it lies with the
Where
court of
is the
law.
primary document coming from?
As in the
presiding
votes.
officers were at the polling station.
Yes.
Who submitted the result sheet to the returning officer? Is it not presiding officer?
True.
Why can't the returning officer inquire from the presiding officer the true copy of the...
Beautiful. Let me answer him. Beautiful.
Okay, hold on. I think that answer can come to you. Yeah.
Beautiful answer. So in the case of Teman Central, Ofosuhine, who is the Metro Director of Elections, who actually, even though he's not supposed to superintend the collation, because the RO for the constituency was there, he took it over and did it. What did he do? He invited the presiding officer from the polling station to come. When the presiding officer came, he said, yes. Oh, as for this pink sheet, when we closed, I got tired. So it was when I got to the office that I completed it. The figures do not match with the duplicate that we have.
So he endorsed that?
No, he admitted.
When was this resolved?
He admitted to the fact that.
When was this resolved?
Can I finish? You've spoken a lot.
Sorry,
so
forgive me.
Listen.
He will come through. Yes.
Good. So he admitted to the fact that the original of the pink sheet that he had given to my agent, the agent for Teman Central, our candidate, the presiding officer from the polling station, he came to the office of the EC to come and fill the original.
Okay.
So he got the contents on the original wrong. They were not matching with the duplicate that we had. So that is why we said this pink sheet has been forged. One.
So did you revert to the pink sheet from the agent, or you took it out completely?
We took it out completely as an invalid pink sheet.
But you could determine there was an original pink sheet there.
The original, yes, the duplicate, because the EC then agreed that this cannot be admitted.
Okay.
Because it was a pink sheet that had been completed not at the polling station in pursuance of Regulation 39(2) and 3.
Okay.
But it was crafted in the comfort of the home in the comfort of the office of the returning officer,
the presiding officer,
after polls have closed, when agents have dispersed.
And he came to make the admission that
he came to make that admission. And
so why didn't you correct those mistakes?
These are material breaches. You don't correct these breaches because even the figure was in favor of the MPP candidate. You understand? Now, second, he says that when you have issues, you can open the ballot box. In Teman Central, does he know how many times the ballot boxes were moved from the polling station to the collation center at Chemu? And it was moved from Chemu without our presence again to the regional police command. Does he know how many times the ballot boxes were moved?
What's your point?
It could have been tampered with. So when he's insisting that if you have issue with the pink sheet, go to the ballot box and count it, because they are then done what they think they will do.
But these ballot boxes were moved by the EC officers.
But let me check. Right? My third point is that Karaga, Tolong, Savelugu, and Damongo. In Damongo, does he know who declared the results? Does he know who declared the results for Abu-Jinapo? Is he aware? It was not the accredited EC officer. But the results were declared in a similar manner with people masked up, and the results was... The
EC officer was burned down.
Thank you. Today, the EC is accepting that declaration as regular. The EC is accepting the declaration done similarly in Tolong as regular. The EC is accepting declaration made in Savelugu in a similar manner as regular. The EC is accepting the declaration made in other constituencies as regular.
But in Okaikwe Central, Central, we saw on TV, the claim was that a certain 70% or so had been garnered. And I asked the question, where is this 70% rule in the CI we are talking about here, 127?
No, that is not the point. The point is that 31 pink sheets were deemed to have been fabricated. If somebody gives the percentage, perhaps it's the calculation.
Okay.
So 31 pink sheets have been fabricated. If that is the case, my brother Yabuama lost and Baba Sadiq won. That is why Yao says that I will go to court to deal with this matter. This is the procedure we are calling for.
But the EC says that it is not possible for you to actually take 110 out of 141 and proceed to go and do your own declaration.
Are you
the officer of the Electoral Commission?
Hold on.
He said the Electoral, his own officer.
Raymond, I think we should pay more attention to what the NDC is saying. The NDC is saying that where pink sheets have been rejected, we are rejecting them because they have been fabricated.
Okay.
Do you understand? When they say, but EC is not acknowledging the fact that
they have been fabricated.
Thank you.
So who fabricated them?
So let the court decide. We suspect that a lot of EC officials were unashamedly MPP. Unashamedly.
Hey.
They were so aligned that, so the issue I narrated to you, why would an EC officer bring pink sheet to the office to come and complete?
But mistakes happen.
Mistake, exactly. The mistakes were deliberately done to favor the MPP.
Gentlemen, give me a second.
Finally.
Yes.
Finally.
Very final point.
Finally.
Yes.
Why is the EC accepting results, the presidential results from these collation centers, and yet it's rejecting the collation of parliamentary results from the same collation centers?
That's an interesting point. Yes, Evans, I need you 2 minutes. I want to bring in something. I want an independent voice on this matter.
Yes, Ray, thank you. I think a lot of allegations are being made by Honorable H. Needless though. But the point is
they are not needless, they are material.
At each polling station, one presiding officer supervises the conduct of presidential and parliamentary.
True.
This same person is able to submit to the returning officer from 8A and from 8B. B presidential, 8 parliamentary. I'm surprised that he's saying that some people fabricated results. What is the EC presiding officers and returning officers telling us? What is the police commander assigned or the officer from the National Election Security Task Force assigned to these collation centers telling us? The same way, what is the media telling us? I think that the point has been made. The NDC did not allow for collation of results in these constituencies.
We
it is the
reject
reason
that
why
section.
the demand has been made.
We reject that section.
Sorry. Yes, please continue making the point.
Others are in court to urge the court to get EC to continue with collation, not to petition results. So he must get it clear. I'm happy that he was not at the Tema Central Collation Center. He's been briefed, so he can tell you all the stories he's telling.
No.
But the fact is
he's
that
wrong. I was there. That he hasn't watched the video.
Roxanne, I will clarify that.
All right.
He is insisting he was there. Were you there yourself?
I wasn't there, but I spoke to my parliamentary candidate. I'm saying that he had a constituency, he was in contest. So he finished his constituency and came to Tema Central.
Thank you.
To observe the process.
I wasn't observed. I was the agent. I was the accredited agent.
This is not something to dispute.
And that it lies in his mouth to say that for these 2 polling stations, we will not accept the result.
Very well. Let me hold on to your point. Let me bring in Samson Ladia in there. I want an independent appreciation of the law governing this particular area. Samson.
Why something?
Sorry.
Because something's position on this is known.
Oh, sorry. For example, Evans Demarco, I'm not sure you determine for me production on this matter, please. Let me proceed with Samson on this one. I want an understanding of what the law says when it comes to what the EC has done with these 9 constituencies. Samson Ladia Enene.
Hi.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, forgive me, but I wanted to be clear on this. The Electoral Commission says that unlawful acts were done. In some instances, they couldn't even complete the collation. So it's going to work on all of those once again, and it is rejecting, specifically in some constituencies, Okaikwe Central, for example, where they have already done the collation. Is this in tune with what the law says?
So, as I have stated earlier, the NPP is right absolutely right when they say that places where collation have not taken place, there is a need for the collation to continue. And the security must provide adequate security to allow the collation to continue so that you can complete that process and allow for gazetting of the results, because the results must be gazetted so that the gazetted individuals who have been duly elected according to the Gazette will be presented to Parliament and be sworn in. The law says also that once the gazetting has been done, within 21 days from the date of the Gazette, anyone who has any complaints about the process must approach the High Court. I repeat, High Court, not the Electoral Commission. CI 127, on the basis of which the NDC insists that re-collation is unlawful, is spot on. They are absolutely right to say for all constituencies where collation has already taken place, there cannot be re-collation. Now check CI 127. You will find that there is no mandate after the returning officer or an officer so appointed who has made the collation and the declaration. There is no room for re-collation and redeclaration where the collation has been done and the declaration has been done. Now, Raymond, check the Act 284. At 284, let's look at specifically Section 20. Section 20 concerns grounds for cancelling election results. This ground must be canvassed in a court, not before the Electoral Commission headquarters.
The video of them.
So it says these are the grounds: general bribery, general treating, general intimidation, or other misconduct or circumstances, whether similar to those specified in this act or not, have so extensively prevailed that they may be reasonably supposed to have affected the result of the election. That there has been non-compliance. Raymond, mark that.
Okay,
The
non-compliance.
talking about what? Non-compliance.
Non-compliance, anyway, yeah.
That there has been non-compliance with a provision of this act, or, mark that again, or of the regulation, and that it appears that the election was not conducted in accordance with the principles laid down by law, and that non-compliance affected the result of the election. Or C, that a corrupt or illegal practice was committed in connection with the election by the candidate, or with the knowledge or consent of the candidate, or by an agent of the candidate, or that the candidate was at the time of the election a person not qualified or a person disqualified for election. So once a collation has happened and a declaration has occurred, my respectful view of the law, which appears to be the plain reading of the law, not that I am seeking to interpret it, is that there cannot be a re-collation. If the collation, whether it was marred by whatever conduct, as the law says, whether it was marred by intimidation, it was the result of a duress, whether or not the person who did the declaration is not qualified, and whatever the reason may be, the forum where a re-collation may happen the forum where recounting may happen, the forum where a new declaration may be occasioned, is not any place other than the High Court. And guess what? The law actually says some of the relief that a party who comes to the court may seek include a declaration that the election to which the petition relates is void. So if you say that because a number of polling stations were not counted, therefore a particular declaration makes the process void, the court allows that to be done. It says the part of what you can ask for is a declaration that a candidate, other than the member whose election is questioned, was duly elected. So if you say that somebody has been declared and that person was wrongfully declared, the court is the place to declare the other person who you deem to have lawfully been elected to be so declared.
And I'm grateful to you. I think this is some clarity on the point. Samson Ladia is a lawyer. Final words from you, Roxanne, here in studio. Then maybe I'll come to you too quickly. Yes, in 1 minute, please.
Yes, we have made the point that we are in court. At a party, a law-abiding party. We are in court. In fact, the matter is the application or notice to the EC is up for hearing tomorrow.
Oh, I see.
We want the EC to be law-abiding in the same manner that they are urging all citizens to be law-abiding. The EC should be law-abiding and attend court tomorrow for the application to be heard. The determination of the application will bring some interim reprieve to all the parties.
Okay.
But the EC should not adopt a grandstand in this matter and say that whether or not you are in court, whether or not we are in court against them, they will still proceed with the re-collation, which is alien to our laws, and therefore is asking the president to provide him or them with security to be able to do that. The president should not be invited into this illegality. The president should not be invited into this illegality. What the EC wants to do is provided under Section 20 of PNDC Law 284, as well as Article 99, Clause 1, Paragraph A of the Constitution. If you are aggrieved, go to the High Court for determination.
I'm grateful to you, and many thanks to you also, Evans, for joining us on this conversation. Forgive me, I ran out of time, and we have to wrap up this conversation. For you out there, many thanks to you for also joining today's edition of Upfront. I had in studio Roxanne Nelson, Eche Kwame Davemako. You heard Samson there, you heard Evans earlier, and you heard Dr. Computer earlier. We just hope we could hear more from him, and that's where we end today's edition of Upfront.